Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks Live. LJ, good morning LJ. Vintage, good to see you Vintage. Bucky, glad to see you here, man. Robbie Reese, Jeff 7, my people. How y'all doing? Glad to see you here. Well, I guess I'll start this one off. Have y'all heard that the internet is on fire because that girl, I don't know her name, Sydney Sweeney or something like that. She's an actress or something, and she's in some jean ads for American jeans or something like that. Anyway, denim jeans, just like Levi's American Eagle or some shit like that. And everybody's mad because there's a blonde white girl posing for advertisements for denim jeans. Lorna, glad to see you here. And it just, when I see that kind of stuff, and I really don't give a shit. People can get mad about whatever they want. But when I see that kind of stuff, it really makes me think about the good old days back when hot chicks wore jeans, and that was what they did. It was just a normal thing. We didn't get mad when hot chicks wore jeans. Hot chicks wore jeans in the 80s. They look good. So now everybody's mad when a hot chick wears jeans. It's just, the twisted ass direction that the world has gone. I don't understand it. It just doesn't make any sense. Companies wanted good looking people to wear their products. And now that's supposed to be a bad thing. So I don't know. It's just dumb. Stephanie, good morning. Oh, good morning to all my early birds, and my Australians too. They're not early birds over there. But yeah, we see that stuff all the time. Just people getting upset over just the most inane things, the most basic, boring shit, and people are getting upset and grabbing their pitchforks and going to the streets over it. And I just don't understand it. There's so much wrong with the world, and people want to spend one iota of their time getting mad about some jean advertisement. I just do not understand it. Tripwire, what's up, Trip? Glad to see you here, man. Yeah, the American Eagle ad, Stephanie. Yeah, I think the lady's name, I just said it and I lost it. Sweeney, Elizabeth Sweeney, something Sweeney. Yeah, I think is the actress's name. And it just excuse me, it just blows my mind that just the picky shit that people get upset about, And I don't know if every one of y'all have watched it, but I made a video a while back, a few months back or whatever, and the title of the video was Why Does Gen X Upset Everyone? And you'd be surprised how many people get in the comments on that video and they're upset because of the video I made. The irony there, getting upset at a Gen Xer because they made a video about why they upset everyone. It's just crazy. People get upset. Sydney Sweeney. Okay, April, hello, April. But yeah, people just, it's like they're searching around, looking under rocks and shit for reasons to get upset nowadays, right? And I don't understand that mentality. I mean, let that shit go by. You don't like a video? Click on the next video. to get outraged by it, by somebody else's opinion, and I gotta get in there and call that person names because they don't think what I think, or they don't believe what I believe, so I gotta get in there and insult that dude or that chick or whatever, insult that chick because she's wearing those jeans. I don't know. We've got people starving all over the world and dropping bombs and shit, and we're worried about some girl wearing jeans. Society's just stupid, I'm telling you. As a whole, not everyone, but as a whole, it reminds me of that. And it's been said different ways, but that Men in Black quote where Tommy Lee Jones says, yeah, a person is smart, but a group of people are stupid, or he said people are stupid, dumb animals, and you know it. Yeah, Lorna, you're right. And I see a lot of that from older millennials too. I mean, they're basically Gen Xers in my opinion. I mean, they just truncated our generation. They could have pushed it to 85, or even 90, and the older millennials are basically Gen Xers as far as I'm concerned, and the younger boomers too. They're basically Gen Xers. Why'd you watch it twice, Trip? Just make sure she wasn't lying. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good reason to be upset, though, Robbie. That's a good reason to be upset, dude. Yeah, I'm talking about the stupid reasons to be upset. Yeah, probably, LJ. They're looking for attention, looking for, I'm a victim because that pretty girl's wearing jeans. That makes me a victim somehow in their twisted mentality. All right, summer's coming. Vintage. Well, we're dead in the heat of it right now. We've got a few weeks of it left, but it'll be hot into September here. It won't really start cooling off until October. Then it'll kind of get down into the high 80s for a while until Thanksgiving, which is the end of November. Yeah. Yeah, Trip. We're not dead yet. Yeah, and it just blows my mind. It really does when I see this kind of stuff, People getting upset over this kind of stuff. And what happened, we grew up with, water off a duck's back, sticks and stones, these kind of proverbs where that taught us to just let it go. If it's unimportant, let it slide. A good quote from Fight Club where he says something to the effect of, when you get to that level of letting that which is not important truly slide. And that always hung in my head. Truly, not just let it slide. Let it truly slide. Honestly, don't think about that shit. Let that shit go for real. Don't let it bother you because it's not important. And I think that the world needs a good dose of that, just for its own sanity. You can't be happy and sane and comfortable if you're constantly on the lookout for some shit to be upset about, to be offended by, or other people to be offended for. Oh, you weren't paying attention to that, so I got offended for you, bro. I got your back. I was offended for you. You know what I'm saying? The whole time they're putting all kinds of chemicals in our food and shit, and they're not worried about that. Nah, that's not important. It's some dude, on a Gen X channel said some shit, or some chick, wore some jeans, or, some just crazy shit to get upset about. But, that they're putting chemicals in our food? No, I'm not worried about that. They want to go bomb some country? That's okay. That doesn't have anything to do with me. Yeah, that's a pretty good summary, Lorna. 1962 to 83. That would be good too. Yeah, I don't either, Trip. I don't see what they're going on about, dude. It's just they honestly, when they don't have anything to bitch and complain about and to be offended by, they'll make shit up. They'll invent shit to be offended by. Now, I did hear and I saw that American Eagle came out and they just stood by, they just stood their ground. They said, um, we can't help it if our jeans make chicks look good. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. So, suck it. That's basically, they didn't say suck it, but I threw that in there. But basically they said it. We're not apologizing because our jeans make chicks hot, So that was pretty cool of them. They didn't do I hate it. Even worse than doing some shit is when the people or company or whatever, and they come and they belly crawl and cry and apologize to these offended people. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know, that I was so offensive, and I'm going to counseling and shit, you know what I'm saying? And I'll stop that abhorrent behavior. I didn't know I was hurting so many people. And it only takes a second to realize that you're always going to hurt those people because they're always looking for a reason to be hurt. No matter what you do, you know what I'm saying? No matter what you do, you're going to be hurting them because they're going to find pain in everything you do. So there's no way. So that's how y'all will know that I sold clean the hell out, is when I get up here and I start apologizing for hurting people's feelings and offending people and shit. Y'all can say, all right, Jesse sold the hell out. I got to go get on a different Gen X channel. He's apologizing for hurting people's feelings. So that's it. We're done. Gen X isn't thinking anymore. So yeah, that kind of shit blows my mind when they get up and they apologize and do the whole thing. I didn't know. No, you knew that what you said wasn't offensive to anyone. It was just common sense shit. You knew that when you said it. So yeah, just pretending to be all humble and apologetic, and it's all fake. They're just pandering to the crowd or whatever. It just kills me. Well, yeah, the genes, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Even if you want to even if you want to make it that way, uh, what? Okay, okay. LJ says it's genes with a G instead of with a J. All right, like genetic genes. What if they had put any other color person up there and said that? They would be applauded and celebrated. Here's the problem I have with that. You can't say I despise, I'm telling you, I despise hypocrisy and double standards and shit like that. I don't know. That shit just rubs me the wrong way. It's not good. I hate it. But if you can put any other race up there and do that same ad and it would be celebrated, not only would it be, people wouldn't have just ignored it, they would have celebrated it. Those same people who are denigrating this ad would celebrate it if she was a different color. That's what pisses me off. Okay? So if they can do it, then she can do it. What's the difference? A person's a person's a person. Let anybody get up there and talk about their genes with a G, their genetic identity, whatever the hell they're saying. So let anybody get up there and talk about their genes. We've all got good genes. Even Tripwire. I don't know about Bucky though. Where's Bucky? I don't know if Bucky. I don't know. Bucky makes me question his genes sometimes. Yeah, Robbie, offended by everything and grateful for nothing. Electric music underground. We live in a clown world and not the cool killer clowns from outer space way. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Underground. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's insane, dude. And our politicians and shit, they might as well be wearing those big colored wigs and the floppy feet and stuff. You know what I mean? They're that ridiculous. But I can't believe that there's a a rather significant percentage of the population that takes them seriously. And takes all this weird shit seriously. Oh yeah, let's all get offended. Yeah, Stephanie, exactly. Transgender elephant, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Yep. Just anything but white. And if you look back in history, that's how it was with the black people in the 40s and 50s and shit. Anything but black. The pendulum has just swung over, and everybody thinks it's okay. Oh, that's okay. Well, not everybody. We don't. You know, people with common sense can see that the pendulum has just swung the other way, and we're doing the same freaking thing we did back in the old days. We just changed the color on the brush. It's ridiculous, and people want to just repeat the same shit. Yeah. Well, yeah, they want to push the DEI shit. Hopefully that shit's going away. But I doubt it. I doubt it. They're just retooling it. It's been the same shit for decades. They're just retooling it and amping it up and making it more palatable. And I doubt anything's going to change. The people with the money are marching down the same road, that they've always marched down. And they're taking society with it. Mike Fleisner. Talk about some good genes, my boy Mike. What's up, dude? Glad to see you here, man. Glad you could make it. We're talking about that jeans ad right now. What April said, the Sydney Sweeney. Yeah. Oh yeah, LJ, you're absolutely right. It's to keep people divided, keep people fighting. If me and you are fighting about a jeans ad, then we're not paying attention to what the hell the government's doing. We're not paying attention to what the pharmaceutical industry is doing. We're not paying attention to, what is happening in our education industry. We're not paying attention to anything. We're fighting about genes. Is it a G or a J? And we're arguing about that shit. And if you disagree with me, then I hate you because you're ignorant and you just don't see the light. And that's a never-ending fight. That's a never-ending struggle. And they've got us divided. And they've got us divided in so many different ways. I could sit here and probably list the ways they have us divided for 20 minutes, and I'd only scratch the surface. Just the obvious ones are, political lines, religious lines, and all different kind of racial lines. There's just so many ways they have us divided. And you can see the division through the media and stuff. Because they know if we ever come together, in each country and decide to make a decision to make our lives better, then they can't stop us, let alone all of Western civilization. Can you imagine this is just a pipe dream. It's never going to happen. But can you imagine if all of the people of Western civilization just stood up at one time in complete agreement and said anything? We're going to paint all the houses blue. All the houses would be blue in 2 months. every single house in Western civilization would be blue. So, I mean, it's just, if we wanted to end war, we could. But we have to agree that war is bad. If we wanted, healthy food, we would have it. But, when there's big swaths of the population that want to march over the cliff with the government and the big money, then there's not much we can do about it. Yeah, ignorance is the default setting, Robbie. You're absolutely right about that. Oh, yeah, Trip, there's nothing to fight about. Yeah, those old Cindy Crawford and those old Super Bowl commercials. I would say a lot of those old commercials back in the 80s and 90s, Lorna, they were awesome. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think it's pure evil, Lorna. I agree. Yeah, if it, we're at least starting to, Laic says at least Gen X stands together, and if we're not completely and totally in unison, at least we're headed in that direction, you know, and I think that's a good thing for all of humanity all the way around. Yeah, yeah, war on obesity, and that's another thing that I saw it in the 80s and the 90s when women were starving themselves, trying to be skinny, and us guys were looking around, and we weren't demanding that women be skinny, so why were they doing that? In retrospect, when you look back at that. But that was the ads that were pushed, and the media and everything demanded that women, the ideal weight, no matter how tall you were or whatever, you were supposed to weigh 90 pounds or some bullshit like that. I don't know. But that was just insane. And that was a very difficult thing to put women through. Um, and that happens to everyone, in different ways, through different avenues. Not, they don't try to tell everyone to lose weight all the time. But back in the 80s and 90s, they were definitely telling women that they had to lose weight, and telling guys they had to have a nice car and a gold watch and all this shit. And it's all bullshit. You just live the life you want to live. Don't harm anyone else. Leave everyone else the hell alone. Let everyone live their lives. Yeah, LJ. Yeah, I have, mostly when people get on here and insult me and shit, I just blow it off. But at the I sometimes I want to tell them that you're that's all you got. That's your big insult. You know what I mean? You're not, yeah. That's fifth grade shit. We were saying that shit in fifth grade. That's the worst you can say about me. Come on, at least try. Put some effort into it. Look up an insult on AI or Google or some shit. And Libra Leone, hey, good morning. Yeah, it's afternoon and evening to some of us. But yeah, glad to see you here. Glad you can make it. Oh, that's cool. Underground. That's pretty cool. Cool in the gang, huh? Yeah, Stephanie. Yeah, well, when you're in it and you're doing it, it doesn't seem all that bad. But when I hear stories from sisters and my wife and stuff, and how they tried not to eat, you know what I mean, and all this stuff, they would go through different little things not to eat good food and all this. But it just makes me feel bad for that, for women back then, and young girls back then, because y'all were trying to live up to this ideal instead of just having fun and being kids. You were worried about that crap. But yeah, when you're doing it, it doesn't seem like that big a deal. I understand what you're saying. Absolutely. Yeah. Who's that? Yeah, Lorna. We survived all that shit. We survived all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? We've been through some hard times over the last 50 years. Shit hasn't been easy, but we've found ways to survive. A lot of us have changed careers several times, but we always do what needs to be done and kept our heads above water. Or if we sunk for a little while, we found a way back. So yeah, Lake, that's exactly what I've said that many times, Lake. Oh, because my wife will say that. Oh, look, isn't that woman beautiful or whatever? Yeah, but she looks like my 14-year-old nephew from the neck down. So that's yeah, I've said that exact same thing, Lake. Yeah. Yeah, chubby tubby Stephanie. All right. Yeah, LJ. Yeah, we've been from. I personally have gone through the trades. From plumbing to carpentry to through a bunch of them, masonry, and now I've ended up as a jack of all trades handyman. That's how I make my living. I'm a jack of all trades. So I that used to bother me when I was younger. I haven't settled down and learned a trade, um, completely, I'm not becoming an expert in a trade because I keep bouncing around. But now I'm glad, because you get in one trade and there might not be any work. But now the way I am today, I can always get work. It might not be the highest paying work around, but I can always get work because I can fix damn near anything to do with a house. I can fix it. So, and a lot to do with a vehicle. I can change parts anyway. I'm not a mechanic. I can't, or I shouldn't say can't. I don't know how to yet. Rip an engine apart and put it back together, but I can change parts. Oh yeah, underground. Yeah, the obesity thing. Again, we see this time and time again with the pendulum. In the 80s, starve yourself to damn death, and then we swing over here to where obesity is in. It's okay to be obese, and it's society and the media. I saw, my wife showed me this video of this obese. Now, for women, okay, I have learned this, because we men have different categories. You've got chubby, and then fat, and then obese. Obese is 350 pounds on a average height person. You got to be really big to be obese. A person that's a little chubby, not obese. A person that's fat, not obese. Obese is obese. All right. Too big, where it's obviously unhealthy for that person. And anyway, I saw this video, and this obese lady was dancing, and she had moves. She was good. She was awesome. But you could not doubt that. All right. But, and this is going to be offensive. so cover your ears if you're easily offended. But she looked horrible. she looked like, just somebody was jiggling a, 5-pound bag of shit. I don't know how else to say it. And I looked at it for a minute, and I saw it, and I said, yeah, that's beautiful. Her dancing, she's really good at it. But do should she be up in public doing that? Is it okay for us to celebrate her unhealthy lifestyle, or should we be saying, hey, it's better to be healthy so you can live a long time and be comfortable and be free of pain and disease and all the other stuff that comes with obesity. To me, that tough love is kinder. You know what I mean? It's just, that's actual caring. To just applaud someone's unhealthy lifestyle is not caring. That's just pandering to the whatever you are, And as Gen X, we're a little rougher around the edges. We'll say shit in a way that upsets people. I get it. I get that. Some people, but it's gone. The pendulum has gone so far to the other way that you can't even say it in a nice way to try to help people. You just have to celebrate their lifestyle, no matter what it is, no matter how dangerous it is, no matter how unhealthy it is, no matter any of that. You just have to celebrate it, or you're evil, you're bad. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not disparaging. People can be whatever they want to be. If you want to be, 350 pounds and you love your cookies and your ice cream and stuff, fine. That's great. If that makes you happy, great. But if you're going to get up and start making dancing videos, don't expect me to enjoy them, is all I'm saying. I don't have to enjoy watching it. We can still, I'll come over to your house. We'll still be best friends. I'll bring you cookies and ice cream. I don't care if that's the way you want to live, but don't expect me to sit there and keep my mouth shut if I actually care about you and say, hey, dude, maybe you shouldn't be eating cookies and ice cream this time. Maybe I'll bring you some carrots next time. Maybe instead of sitting here on the couch and bullshitting and maybe we'll go for a walk next time. Maybe I'll get us some bicycles. Let's go for a bike ride or something. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and I can't stress enough how well this chick danced. She was awesome. Yeah, she just it just was not. It wasn't fun to watch, and it was crazy. Yeah, Trip. Who's stealing the Twinkies? Yeah, you out of here, Bucky? Oh, no, LJ's out of here. All right, LJ. Be cool, buddy. Thanks for dropping by, man. I'll see you later, dude. Yeah, so, and this Electric Underground, there's no problem with that. I mean, we shouldn't even focus on numbers. In my opinion, we wouldn't even focus on 185 pounds, 190 pounds, 195, 230, 250, 280, whatever. It should just be about health and, do your knees hurt when you get up off the couch and stuff? Then, you might want to think about doing something different. That kind of thing. We shouldn't even, because there is someone for everyone. I really believe that. Someone's going to like you. Someone, I finally found someone that liked me. Her eyes might be bad. Maybe there's something wrong with her sense of smell. I don't know. Maybe she constantly hears some ringing in her ears. I don't know why she likes me. But I eventually found, if I can find somebody who likes me, then everybody can find somebody. So my point is that people worry about, sometimes people worry about how much they weigh or what they look like and stuff. But you don't have to. So there's somebody out there who's going to like you, and that's just the way it is. Uh, yeah, yeah. The women, I saw it when I was a kid, Libra. The women have been hit with all kinds of brainwashing from the media and stuff, and it's not even hidden. I saw it with my sisters as a kid. I realized what was happening to my sisters when I was a kid, and it's difficult to watch, really. I grew up with my sisters, and I'm like, what, but when all of society and all of media and all of this shit is aimed at brainwashing you and messing with your mind, it's hard. I understand. I can't really relate to it and stuff because it's never happened to me, but women have it hard when it comes to that kind of shit. They are brainwashed hard. And not every woman. Some women don't, they don't fall for that shit as easy. But I guarantee you that the media, the propaganda and shit is aimed at women at least twice as hard, 3 times as hard as it is at men. Yeah. So, yeah, I completely sympathize with women. And I believe that, I don't know, I have a theory for that, why isn't Norse mythology, why isn't that like the biggest religion in the world? Because it should be, if you think about it just logically. Norsemen went out from Scandinavia and just subjugated, just took over most of Europe, right? Big chunks of Europe, England, chunks of France, just all over the place. They took over that shit. Vikings did. So if the Vikings completely took over England at one point, why is England still Christian? Or was at one, for hundreds of years there. They were Christian. I don't know what they are now. Probably going toward Muslim, but possibly still Christian. Okay. And my theory on that is because the women in the home, the Viking men would come over and take over a country, and they would just marry into the families there. They would just take a wife, an English wife, right? And she would raise the kids, and she would raise the kids as Christians. She would raise the kids, and eventually, his wife and his kids are Christians, and they're all bugging, the Viking warrior who came over here to become a Christian. So eventually he becomes a Christian. All right? So that is why I think that the propaganda and the media are aimed more towards women, because they have so much influence in the family. And when you have influence in the family, you have influence in society. You finally gained weight. I've never been able to gain weight. Not really, not. I don't know. I've always fluctuated around the same weight my entire life. I think when I joined the Army, I think if memory serves, I weighed 120 pounds right out of high school when I joined the Army. And I gained weight in the Army in basic training and a little bit right after. And I haven't fluctuated since, within 5 pounds, I still can't gain weight. They brought freedom. they, they were spreading democracy, huh, Lake? What happened, AF? What transpired in your garage? Oh, she's probably typing, or he's probably typing. Oh, okay, LJ. But I just think that's true about the why. You know, you try to figure out why are women the target of so much propaganda and brainwashing and all this stuff. Uh, and that's the only thing I can figure. And when I look back at history and see that, I love that show Vikings, that TV show, and I was looking at that, and it really that question hit me. Why did Norse mythology go away if the Vikings were spreading their culture all over the place? Why did Norse mythology just go away? And that's the reason. That's the reason, because the Viking men were the ones who came over and took over, and they married Christian women. If it had been the other way around, if Christian men had gone out and married Viking women, then the Christian men would have become Vikings. Or Norse. They would have started believing in Norse mythology. Yeah. Yeah, underground. Well, we're at that age now where we got to watch we got to watch what we eat regardless for weight reasons. But like I said before, it's not just the weight and how you look. It's about health. It's about health and mobility and just happiness, because I'm a lot happier when I'm active and I can get around, even when I've had injuries or I'm down with a rare flu or something, and I'm stuck inside for a few days. I'm miserable. I'm the happiest when I'm up moving around and going outside and that kind of stuff. So just for health and happiness, I think you got to eat right and get some exercise, and as a byproduct to that, you'll hit a natural healthy weight. Imagine being Dutch. Yeah, Stephanie, I've heard that before, that women compete against each other, and that's hard for us men to understand because we just really don't do that. You know, we really don't do that. I mean, we will in some areas if it's a competition, like pool or video games or something. When the goal of it, the thing itself, the activity is a competition, but just in the way we look or whatever, it's more. I think throughout history, it's been more about money for men, not about how we look, which is different but the same. uh, Men compete with how much money we have or whatever, how much clout or whatever we have. It has we some men did that in the past anyway. I never really gave two shits about that, but and I think that most Gen Xers, at least here in my audience and on Gen X, thinks aren't much like that. Your sound system rattled loose. The clamp. AF. I thought something really bad happened. I thought there was a bear in your garage or something. Yeah, true, like yeah, more money in being a Christian. Yeah. Yeah, and that's probably underground. Women are social creatures. They always have to be social for survival. And I think that's why the Gen X women are kind of immune, to a certain extent at least, more than any others anyway, to that propaganda and stuff. Because Gen X women don't feel that same, they're not compelled to be as social as, other people from other ages, right? We're all of the, just leave us alone variety of people, men and women both, as far as in my experience, talking to other Gen Xers. And at the very least, they're okay, with being alone. Even if they don't seek it out, they're okay with it. Shit, I don't mind. I don't care. So I think that's why Gen X women are, they're a little bit more immune to that propaganda and the brainwashing. Massive sound. Do you still have house parties, dude? Underground with your sound system? That used to be the shit. Yeah. Yeah, true, Stephanie. The true competition is money, and that's what the Norse were looking for. When they were looking for gold and silver, and when they came over. So yeah, you're absolutely right. And in every category, every problem in the world, that adage holds true. Follow the money. You ask why they're doing something? Money. And I've said this a lot about the stock market and its manipulation and shit, but when you think about it, this whole control with money thing, it really goes deep, and it's bigger than people think. Because average people, average working class people, only own like 3% of the stock market or something. It's insane. We own just a tiny little fraction of the stock market. So if and they always say this, oh, people are panicking and they're selling. All right. So if I panic and sell my stock, let's say I own all of it, the whole 3%, just me, just Jesse. Let's say I panic and I sell my stock. Okay. That's going to make the market tremble and shift and change. That's what they're saying. That's what they're trying to, they make most people believe, or they get most people to believe, is that 3% can just shift the stock market, just send quakes and trembles through the stock market, right? Because we panicked. Okay, that's bullshit right off the top. That's not, that 3% doesn't change that much. Okay, but if I did panic and I sold all of the common people's stock at one time, right? And that's what makes the stock market take a dive. Wouldn't the people, somebody has to buy that stock on the other end. When you sell something, there must be someone on the other end buying it. There must be a purchase. So why is it that the seller is the one who affects the stock market and it goes down, and not the buyer who affects the stock market and has the price go up? If I sell 3%, then somebody must be buying 3%. There's interest in the stock market. That's a good thing. That's a good sign. Why doesn't it go up? You know what I mean? So all of this shit, it's all bullshit, is my point. It's all just, they're just fabricating shit and manipulating us with all these storylines about stock and analyzing and analysts and all this bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's all smoke and mirrors, and people buy it. Robbie's out of here. Be cool, Robbie. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, we had some parties back in the day, that's for damn sure. Oh yeah, underground. Yeah, being happy, being alone that's the key to happiness. You have to be happy with yourself. You've got to learn that. Even if you're an outgoing people person and stuff, you've got to be happy with yourself. You've got to be able to sit in a room and just be happy with yourself. Oh yeah. Yeah, Libra, you're right about that. Young men are being targeted now in the same way that women have always been targeted. Yeah, I see that too. You're absolutely right. Uh, and they're being targeted with this trans shit and all this. And I've said it before about the um, hyper focus on sexuality and gender just before at the end of a civilization, just before the collapse, just before it starts going down the collapse slope. uh, Society seems to get hyper focused on gender and sex and all that stuff. So yeah. All right, everybody, it's that time. Time to say goodbye. I got to get ready for work. Who we got here today? Tripwire, Lorna Charles, Libra Leone, Robbie Reese, Electric Music Underground, AF 1892, Bucky Nave. Who else we got? I don't want to miss anybody. April, Laic, Vintage, Stephanie Anderson, LJ. Did I say LJ already? I think LJ bailed on us, but JP. I might miss some people, but there's a lot of comments to scroll through. So I apologize if I missed your name. All right. Mike Fleisner. Can't forget my buddy Mike. All right. Well, I've scrolled through. I don't think I got everybody. Jeff 7. Thank everybody for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I love hanging out and shooting the shit with y'all, reminiscing, talking about everything that's wrong with this damn world. Hey, we finally made it through a live stream without talking about the apocalypse. That's got to be some kind of record on Gen X Thanks, right? What? Oh, it's 5 o'clock here. Yeah, time for me. I gotta start getting ready for work and head out. Now remember, tomorrow, everybody, we're gonna have one at 4 p.m. Eastern time, Sunday afternoon. So that'll be that's a longer one. That's normally a 2 hour show. So we'll hang out for that. And normally more people show up, but we had quite a few people show up to this one. So surprising, which is cool though. All right. Well, I'll see y'all later. Thank you for hanging out. Thanks, Trip. I appreciate you. Laic, everybody, Vintage, all my people from overseas, Australia, Norway. Yeah, thank y'all. I appreciate it. All right, and I'll leave you there with that. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.